everyone will get a good standard of accommodation, a good room with facilities adjacent to their room, a really nice place. Some people may come into this building and make a criticism and say, well, that's a very splendid building for people who are homeless. In fact, this building is nice, it's good, it's attractive, it's simple. It's quite simple, really. It's a very simple structure with very simple rooms. But it is good, it is nice. And our experience in Emmaus has been that if you enable people to have a decent standard of accommodation, first of all, by giving them that or enabling them to have that, you're showing respect to people and you're enabling them to regain their own self-respect. And I can't think of any case in my experience with Emmaus, which goes back since its inception in this country, where people have abused that. And all sorts of people come to Emmaus. Some people will stay for a longish period of time because they need a supportive community, and we don't discourage that. Others come for a shorter period of time and will move on back into normal life. We have a partnership here in Emmaus Hampshire with IKEA, who you've seen have provided the furniture for this place. They've furnished it completely. But that isn't the main part of IKEA's involvement here. IKEA will, from time to time, take some people from Emmaus and begin to introduce them into a different type of work beyond this building, so that we get people back into normal life again, back into the run of life. Now, there is a stereotype about people who go on the streets. Often people think they're just drunken or drugged wastrels who really shouldn't be given any help. They should be just pushed to one side. Well, admittedly, there are one or two people, just one or two, a small proportion, who, one might say, almost earn their living by begging. But by no means is that the real picture of people who find themselves. Let me give you an example. When I opened the first community, Emmaus community in the UK, in Cambridge, I went into the building when it was equipped and when it was the companions, as the people who come to live here are called. I went in to see them, and the man was sitting there, and he said, "You don't remember me, do you?" I said, "I don't think I do." And it turned out that he was my Sergeant Major from the Grenadier Guards when I was a National Serviceman all those years back. And what had happened was very typical of what does happen to a number of people. He left the army, he couldn't settle, he got a civilian job, and that didn't last. Because he then became depressed, he got into heavy drinking, which cost him his marriage, lost his house, found himself on the streets, literally walking the streets. And that man had been a really smart and proud soldier. A large number of ex-service people, actually, who do find themselves on the street for one reason or another. And it can happen to anybody. Believe you me, it can happen to anybody. It's very, very easy to go down, but I think it's certainly true to say it's extremely difficult to get back into mainstream life. I mean, sometimes when I've been in a town that's new to me, on a cold winter's evening, and I've walked the streets, I thought how dreadful it must be not to have anywhere to go to, not to have anyone to turn to, but perhaps a night shelter, not to have any friends or supporters. It really must be desperately difficult to get back on your feet. Well, Emmaus provides a model, it provides a structure, and it works. It really does work. And it isn't just, as I say, an organisation for rehabilitation. It does do a tremendous amount in that field. But also it's an organisation that receives from the local community, as we receive your gifts of goods and what have you, but also gives something back. A vital, essential part of local community. I'm a great believer that in this day and age, we cannot and should not leave it to government to solve many of the social problems. They can't do it, as has been evidence. They do what they can. But social problems are really resolved when local communities get together and actually do something themselves. And this is one model. There are many others, where the community, ordinary people such as you and I, those who are engaged in business at different levels, gather together and say, we're going to change things, we're going to make a difference. And believe you me, this community will make a difference to the quality of life for people in this area, not just the homeless, but for those who are fortunate enough, like you and I, again, to have a home and to have a place to go to. There will be setbacks, of course there will. Emmaus can't have 100% success with people. Sometimes there will be disappointments, of course there will. But if we didn't have them, as I said this morning when we had a good gathering here this morning, if we didn't have an occasional setback, we'd begin to wonder if really we're working with the group of people who really need us. And it's also essential, and this is something we're very keen on in Emmaus, that we do link and work with the other variety of agencies who are at work in this field, so that collectively together we can make a difference and make a community that is a community that's safe and good and wholesome to live in. So I'd like to say thank you very much for coming today. I hope you've enjoyed your look around the building. You'll never see it like this again, empty like this, never. It'll be full. And there will be lots of interesting things here to look at, to buy, and we'll hope you'll make a point of calling in, even if it's just to have a coffee, or see if you can find yourself a good book. I was at Emmaus, Cambridge just the other day. I never come away without something. I came away with 2 heavy volumes, the shorter Oxford Dictionary. £6, that's all. Not bad. Not bad. I gave them to my wife. She's a great Sudoku fan, and that should help you solve everything. But so do make a point of coming back. And thank you so much for coming today. It's lovely to see everyone.